Have you ever woken up with that hollow question echoing in your mind, what am I even doing? Not out of panic, not out of laziness, but from that quiet, unsettling emptiness that sits somewhere between confusion and awareness. You go through the motions, work, scrolling, talking, but deep down you can feel it. That sense that life is moving, but you aren't the one driving it. Most people don't realize how normal that is. You're not lost, you're just disconnected from signal. Because purpose doesn't disappear, it just gets buried under noise. Expectations, pressure, social comparison, the invisible checklist of what you're supposed to have by now. The right job, the right partner, the right house, the right image. You start living on autopilot, chasing validation from a world that keeps changing the rules. And somewhere along the way, you stop asking the only question that matters. What was I built to do? Here's the truth no one tells you. Your purpose isn't something you find in a book, a video, or a course. It's something you remember. It's already there, waiting beneath all the layers of what you thought you were supposed to become. Most people spend their lives decorating the cage they were handed. They polish the bars, compare their space to others, and call it success. But purpose doesn't live inside comfort. It's discovered in the tension between who you are and who you could be. The reason so many people feel stuck isn't because they lack direction. It's because they've been living by someone else's map. They followed the expectations of family, culture, or the crowd, and woke up in a place that looks nothing like them. You see, society teaches you to choose safety first, approval second, and fulfillment last. It tells you to play it smart, not play it real. But the cost of that is heavy. Your soul slowly dulls, your fire fades, and you start mistaking survival for living. Finding purpose isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about remembering what made you feel alive before the world told you to be realistic. Before you started playing small to fit in. Think about it. When you were young, there was something that pulled your attention so deeply that you forgot about time. That state wasn't random. That was your natural frequency. Somewhere along the line, you traded that for certainty. The first step back is silence. Not the absence of sound, but the removal of distraction. Because the truth doesn't shout, it whispers. And you can't hear it when you're drowning in noise. When you slow down long enough to listen, you'll start noticing the signs. That unease every time you say yes to something you don't mean. That energy drop around people who drain you. That recurring thought that won't leave you alone. Those are not coincidences, that's direction. Purpose always speaks before it's seen. It shows up as curiosity, resistance, or even pain. It tests you through friction, not comfort. When life keeps repeating the same lesson, it's not punishing you. It's pointing you toward what needs to evolve. The mistake is ignoring it because it doesn't feel convenient. Every obstacle, every delay, every heartbreak is a signal, a calibration tool pushing you closer to alignment. Purpose doesn't come from asking, what do I want? It comes from asking, what am I willing to give? Because what you're willing to sacrifice for reveals what truly matters. The moment you commit to something greater than comfort, you start to change. The body wakes up, the mind sharpens, energy returns, life begins to pull you instead of you pushing against it. And that's when things start to align. Not because the world changes, but because you finally stop fighting your own design. Part 2, the illusion of purpose. Everyone wants purpose, but most people want it in a way that guarantees they'll never find it. They chase it like a product, something they can buy, read, or manifest. They think purpose will show up in a neatly packaged epiphany one morning whispering, "This is what you were meant to do." But purpose doesn't arrive that way. It's not clarity first, then action. It's action first, then clarity. The truth is, most people don't lack purpose. They lack patience. They mistake confusion for failure. The modern world has trained you to expect instant direction. A new career in 30 days, a life-changing course, a Find Your Why worksheet. But purpose doesn't speak that fast. It reveals itself slowly, in layers, through discomfort and decision. You learn who you are by watching what survives pressure. The world keeps you distracted so you never notice that. Every scroll, every comparison, every quick dopamine hit is designed to keep you detached from the work of self-discovery. Because if you actually stopped long enough to hear yourself think, you might start realizing how far you've drifted from what matters. That's why you can be surrounded by everything you thought you wanted: money, attention, validation, and still feel empty. Because purpose doesn't care about image, it cares about contribution. It asks, what are you building that outlives your comfort? What are you willing to be bad at long enough to get good? Those questions scare people because they expose truth. The illusion is believing you need to have it all figured out before you start. You don't. You just need to start where you are with what you have. Purpose isn't discovered in theory, it's revealed through movement. Every action you take, even the wrong ones, refines direction. The only way to miss your purpose is to stay still. It's easy to talk about purpose when life feels clear. The real test is when nothing makes sense, when you're uncertain, tired, and no one's clapping. That's where 99% of people quit thinking they're lost, when in reality they're just being tested. Because purpose hides behind resistance. It's buried under repetition, boredom, and doubt, waiting to see who keeps going when the thrill fades. If you want to find your purpose, stop searching for inspiration and start searching for responsibility. The thing that you're meant to do is usually disguised as the thing most people avoid, the problem that keeps bothering you because you know you could fix it if you cared enough. Purpose doesn't ask for excitement, it asks for endurance. The people who find it don't do so because they were gifted direction. They find it because they refused to give up when everything went quiet. They learned to trust friction, to see confusion not as chaos, but as calibration. They understood that meaning doesn't appear when you want it. It appears when you've proven you're ready to carry it. Purpose doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who build. Part 3. The Pattern of Disconnection. Purpose doesn't vanish. It fades quietly, replaced piece by piece by the things you choose instead of it. The job you settled for because it was safe. The habits that numbed you just enough to forget. The approval you kept chasing from people who never understood where you were going. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly. You trade passion for practicality, vision for validation, movement for comfort. And before long, you wake up surrounded by things that don't feel like yours, living a life that fits but doesn't belong to you. Disconnection starts small. It's skipping one commitment to yourself. It's saying later to the thing that matters most. It's pretending you don't care because caring would mean changing. And change feels heavy when you've built stability around something shallow. Most people think they're lost, but they're not. They're disconnected from truth, buried under routines that look successful but feel empty. They're producing, achieving, collecting, but none of it connects. Purpose requires honesty, and honesty threatens comfort. That's why people stay busy. Noise is easier than reflection. You can't connect with your purpose until you disconnect from distraction. That means cutting off everything that keeps you sedated. The endless scrolling, the fake urgency, the constant chase for something new. Every time you run from silence, you run from clarity. Realignment begins when you stop pretending you don't know. Deep down, you already sense what's missing. The body knows. It tenses around the wrong people, grows tired in the wrong environments, and lights up when something real appears. Your purpose doesn't live in your thoughts, it lives in your reactions. Watch what excites you and what drains you. Watch what time disappears into. Watch what pain keeps repeating. Those aren't coincidences, they're patterns trying to lead you back to yourself. The universe isn't punishing you when things fall apart, it's pulling you out of what's not aligned. Disconnection ends the moment you stop waiting for a sign and start acting like your choices matter. Every decision either builds connection or breaks it. Every yes and no rewrites direction. Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers through experience. And if you keep ignoring the whisper, life will eventually start screaming through circumstance. So pause, step back, take inventory of what still feels alive in you and what doesn't. If something feels dead, stop feeding it. If something keeps pulling at you, even quietly, follow it. The path back to purpose is never hidden. It's just covered by everything you've chosen to tolerate. Part 4. The cost of comfort. Comfort is the slowest form of death. It doesn't strike suddenly. It dulls you over time. It convinces you that peace means ease, that stability means safety. But comfort doesn't protect you. It traps you. It keeps you circling the same habits, the same thoughts, the same version of yourself long after you've outgrown it. The truth is, purpose doesn't live in comfort. It hides in friction, in the moments that stretch you, humble you, and demand more than you thought you had. That's where the real transformation happens, because growth only begins once you're willing to feel uncomfortable long enough to change. Look around. Comfort has become the new religion. Convenience has replaced curiosity. People avoid silence because it makes them feel exposed. They'd rather scroll endlessly than face the truth that nothing external is going to fill what's missing internally. Comfort feels good because it keeps you numb, and numbness is easier than awareness. But every time you choose what's easy, you pay with a piece of your edge. You trade hunger for satisfaction. You trade potential for predictability. The longer you live like that, the smaller you become. Not physically, but spiritually, mentally, energetically. The fire fades, the signal weakens. Purpose doesn't reward those who play it safe. It rewards those who are willing to sacrifice convenience for meaning. You'll never discover who you really are while trying to avoid discomfort. Because purpose doesn't ask for balance, it asks for alignment. And alignment often looks like discomfort to people who've been asleep too long. The world glorifies comfort because it's profitable. When you're comfortable, you consume. When you're uncomfortable, you create. Comfort keeps you quiet, predictable, dependent. Purpose makes you dangerous. It gives you direction, and direction makes you harder to control. That's why chasing your purpose will cost you. You'll lose people who prefer the old version of you. You'll outgrow conversations that no longer go anywhere. You'll be misunderstood by those who mistake consistency for obsession. But that's the price of growth. You can't bring everyone with you. There's a moment in every person's life when they realize the walls they built for safety have become their prison. That's the turning point. You can keep decorating the cage, or you can break it. The fear you feel right before making that move, that's not danger, that's direction. Once you step beyond comfort, life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like creation. Every challenge becomes a sculptor shaping who you're becoming. Every setback becomes a lesson in refinement. The pain doesn't disappear, you just stop resenting it. You understand that every ounce of friction is proof that you're alive and in motion. Because the goal was never to feel comfortable. The goal was to feel capable. Part 5. The pull of calling. There's a moment in every person's life when they feel something pulling at them. Not loudly, not all at once, but quietly, like gravity. It doesn't come with instructions. It's not a voice you hear, but a feeling you can't ignore. You can try to distract yourself with work, noise, or people, but it keeps returning, showing up at odd hours, reminding you that something inside you wants more. That pull is your calling. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. It's the quiet tug toward what feels natural yet terrifying. It's the thing that keeps reappearing no matter how often you push it away. You'll know it's real because it doesn't go away with logic. You can reason yourself out of almost anything except purpose. Most people confuse calling with passion. Passion fades when things get hard. Calling grows louder when you struggle. It's what wakes you up when motivation dies. The calling doesn't care if you're ready, qualified, or confident. It just wants to know if you're listening. You've felt it before. That sense that something you're doing matters. Not because it's easy, but because it feels right. It gives you energy instead of draining it. It doesn't always make you happy, but it always makes you alive. That's the signal. Purpose doesn't chase pleasure, it chases alignment. But calling always comes with resistance. Because every time you get close to something real, fear shows up pretending to protect you. Fear will disguise itself as logic. Be realistic. You're not ready. What if it doesn't work? It's not truth. It's your old identity trying to survive. Every version of you built on comfort will fight to stay alive when you move toward what's real. The moment you answer that pull, everything starts changing. You begin noticing patterns. People leaving, opportunities appearing, new challenges arriving. It's not coincidence. When you move with purpose, the world reorganizes around you. But it's not magic, it's alignment. The external mirrors the internal. Here's what most people don't understand. Your calling doesn't need approval. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't even need understanding. It only needs your obedience. You follow it because ignoring it hurts more than failing. You pursue it because pretending you don't care starts to feel like lying. Every great transformation begins with one choice: to take the pull seriously. You don't need to know the destination. You just need to move in its direction. Because purpose doesn't reveal itself to the comfortable. It reveals itself to the committed. So if something inside you keeps asking for more, don't silence it. Don't rationalize it away. That's not restlessness, that's recognition. It's the deeper part of you trying to wake the rest of you up. You don't find your calling by searching harder. You find it by becoming quiet enough to hear it and brave enough to follow. Part 6. The Path of Resistance. The moment you start moving towards something real, the resistance begins. It doesn't come as some obvious obstacle. It comes disguised as delay, doubt, distraction, anything that tempts you to stop. The world doesn't test your desire, it tests your discipline. It wants to see if you'll keep walking once the excitement fades and the weight sets in. That's the first law of purpose. Everything meaningful will feel impossible at first. The mind will tell you you're not ready. The world will echo it. And in that noise, you'll start to wonder if maybe you made a mistake. But resistance doesn't mean you're off track, it means you're getting close. The stronger the resistance, the more real the direction. Purpose isn't revealed through ease. It's revealed through endurance. The gym doesn't build muscle without tension. The storm doesn't test the roots unless it shakes the tree. The same principle applies here. You don't know who you are until life gives you something heavy enough to prove it. Every challenge you meet while chasing your calling is a filter. The ones who aren't serious will quit at the first sign of friction. The ones who are born for it will adapt. They'll learn to move through resistance like water, not fighting every obstacle but flowing around it. The goal isn't to eliminate resistance. It's to become so grounded that it no longer shakes you. Here's the thing most people miss. Resistance isn't there to stop you, it's there to shape you. It's training disguised as chaos. Each delay teaches patience. Each failure sharpens awareness. Each setback humbles your ego. Without resistance, purpose would stay fantasy. It's the friction that refines belief into reality. The people who never reach purpose aren't weak. They're impatient. They expect alignment to feel good. It doesn't. It burns. It stretches. It strips away everything fake. That's the process. You lose the parts of you that were built for comfort, and what's left is precision. When you walk this path long enough, you stop expecting life to get easier. You just get better at staying calm. You stop asking for less resistance and start asking for more strength. That's when you cross into mastery. When pressure stops being the enemy and becomes the proof. And if you look back one day and realize that every obstacle was actually instruction, that every delay was a detour designed to build skill, you'll understand something most people never do. The path of resistance isn't punishment. It's preparation. Purpose doesn't reward the confident. It rewards the consistent. It doesn't follow comfort, it follows commitment. When everything feels heavy, remember, that weight isn't there to crush you. It's there to carve you into who you were always supposed to be. Part 7. The Alignment Test. There comes a point when things start clicking in ways you can't explain. The right people appear at the right time. The wrong ones drift quietly out of your life. Opportunities that used to feel forced start finding you naturally. That's not luck, that's alignment. The moment your intent, energy, and action move in the same direction, the world adjusts its rhythm to match yours. But alignment isn't constant, it's tested. The universe keeps checking if your actions still match your words, if your discipline still matches your desire. The test comes every time you grow, because each level of purpose demands a cleaner version of you. The easiest way to tell when you're aligned is to pay attention to how things flow, not if they're easy. Easy is lazy. But when you're aligned, even difficulty feels meaningful. The work is hard, but it doesn't drain you. The effort gives back. You feel connected to what you're doing even when you're tired. Disalignment feels different. It's heavy. It's resistance without progress, like pushing a locked door. You can spend months grinding and still feel further behind because the energy isn't pure. You're doing the right things, but for the wrong reasons. You're chasing outcomes, not purpose. That's why alignment always starts internally. You can't align with anything until you stop living in contradiction. You can't preach discipline but move impulsively. You can't say you want truth but keep lying to yourself. You can't ask for clarity but feed on distraction. Every contradiction weakens the signal. Purpose can't move through mixed frequencies. Alignment begins the moment your behavior stops betraying your vision, when your habits start matching your standards, when you stop explaining and start executing. And once that alignment locks in, something changes. People start noticing your energy before your results. They can feel that you're moving differently, cleaner, sharper, quieter. You don't need to announce it because presence replaces explanation. But here's the mistake most people make. They think alignment means stability. It doesn't. Alignment isn't about staying still. It's about staying true while everything around you moves. It's not about balance. It's about precision. The more aligned you become, the less you tolerate anything that pulls you off frequency. Drama, distractions, mediocrity. You stop explaining why you don't engage with noise because silence becomes your answer. The test of alignment isn't how fast you move. It's how clean your direction stays when chaos shows up. Anyone can feel centered in peace. Alignment is proven in disruption. And when you pass that test, you stop chasing validation altogether. You start living by signal instead of approval. You stop waiting for proof because your results become the proof. That's when you understand alignment isn't a reward you get for being perfect. It's the byproduct of being honest. Once you stop lying to yourself, life stops lying back. Part 8. The weight of responsibility. Purpose always feels exciting at first, until you realize what it demands from you. Everyone wants meaning until meaning starts requiring discipline. Everyone says they want to live for something greater, but few are ready for the weight that comes with it. Because real purpose isn't about passion. It's about responsibility. Responsibility is what separates dreamers from builders. Passion feels good. Responsibility costs. It requires sacrifice, repetition, patience, and self-control. It forces you to grow into someone capable of holding what you asked for. The more powerful the purpose, the heavier the weight. That's how the system stays fair. People love to say, "I want to make an impact." But impact doesn't begin with inspiration. It begins with reliability. Showing up when it's inconvenient, when it's boring, when it hurts. Purpose doesn't need your motivation. It needs your consistency. The ones who create lasting change aren't the most talented. They're the ones who keep showing up long after emotion disappears. Carrying responsibility feels lonely at times because few people will understand it. While everyone else is chasing excitement, you're mastering repetition. While they want results now, you're focused on building systems that outlast you. Purpose turns you into a custodian of something sacred. Your potential, your standards, your influence. The heavier the purpose, the more silence you'll need. Noise weakens focus. Constant stimulation fragments direction. Responsibility demands clarity, and clarity requires solitude. You start realizing that peace isn't found in escape, it's found in execution. You sleep better not because life is easy, but because your effort is honest. Responsibility also reveals who's serious. People will tell you they admire your drive, but few will match your discipline. They'll celebrate your progress, then question your sacrifices. Don't explain. They can't see what you're carrying. They weren't built for it. Carrying purpose doesn't make you special. It makes you useful. The moment you treat it like status instead of service, you lose the signal. Purpose amplifies humility, not ego. It demands that you lead by example, not noise, that you measure success not by applause, but by impact. And the deeper you go, the more you realize. Purpose isn't about finding yourself. It's about forgetting yourself. It's about becoming so aligned with the mission that your comfort stops mattering. You move for something bigger than mood or reward. Responsibility feels heavy at first, but over time, it turns into power. The same weight that once crushed you becomes the foundation you stand on. Every burden you've carried has been training, for composure, for strength, for precision. Because purpose isn't about what you get, it's about what you can hold without breaking. And once you can hold it, life will start giving you more. Part 9. The fulfillment of purpose. There's a point when the chase ends, not because you've achieved everything, but because you finally understand what the chase was for. You stop needing more and start becoming more. That's fulfillment. Not the moment you get what you wanted, but the moment you realize you've become the person capable of creating it again and again. Fulfillment isn't a reward, it's a frequency. It's what happens when what you think, what you feel, and what you do all move in the same direction. There's no split between who you are and how you live. No contradiction. Just quiet certainty. That's the real definition of peace. Alignment in motion. The world doesn't stop testing you, but you stop breaking when it does. You don't avoid storms, you navigate them. You don't chase validation, you generate it from within. Every move, every breath, every decision feels deliberate. Fulfillment arrives the day you stop asking, "What's my purpose?" and start living like the answer. Because purpose was never something to find. It was something to remember. It was buried under distractions, dulled by comfort, hidden behind fear. But it was always there, waiting for you to stop running from silence long enough to hear it. When you reach this level of awareness, you stop measuring life by milestones. You start measuring it by alignment. You don't ask if things are easy. You ask if they're true. You don't chase passion. You cultivate peace. You understand that fulfillment isn't excitement, it's depth. Purpose doesn't make life lighter. It makes it clear. The same challenges that used to break you now refine you. The same resistance that used to exhaust you now fuels you. The same pressure that once scared you now reminds you you're alive. And that's when you understand the paradox. Fulfillment isn't found at the top. It's found in the climb. It's found in the process of waking up every day and giving everything you have to something that matters. Not because you're promised a result, but because it's who you've chosen to be. The fulfilled don't need constant motivation because they've built identity around discipline. They don't need balance because their life is balance. Chaos and order, ambition and peace, drive and stillness, all working in rhythm. And when you finally operate from that place, life doesn't just make sense, it feels complete. Not perfect, not predictable, but whole. You can stand in the middle of uncertainty and still feel grounded, because you're no longer looking for direction. You are the direction. Fulfillment isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of mastery. The quiet understanding that you'll never be done, but you'll always be aligned. Purpose doesn't give you control over life. It gives you control over yourself. And once you have that, nothing outside of you can pull you off course again. You found what everyone else is still searching for, not because it was hidden, but because you finally stopped running long enough to see it was always inside you.